One way to get better at playing your scales as a beginner saxophone player is by practicing your scales in patterns. And today we're looking at your triads, and we are going in a stepwise motion instead of just going in a linear form and going backward. One thing to keep in mind as you practice your triads and you practice patterns is try not to sight read the patterns per se. Whenever you get the sheet music, what you want to do is use it as a reference point to learn the pattern that you are learning. So one way to dial in this particular pattern that we're looking at is to learn the intervals using numbers. In our case today, we're looking at our triads and we're going in a stepwise motion. We go 1, 3, 5, back down to 3, 2, 4, 6, back down to 4, 3, 5, 7, back down to 5. So if you notice 1, 3, 5, 3 is serving as your approach note going to 2 to start the pattern again. After you'd have gone 2, 4, 6, your 4 is serving as the approach note to approach 3. And you will be using these approach notes as you ascend and descend to approach the note from above or below, depending on the direction that you are going when you are practicing the patterns. The next thing that you want to do is to take the patterns around the circle of fourths and fifths. Now, essentially, you can go chromatically, where you can go from C to C sharp or D flat major, then you go to D, then you go to E flat and E, and so on. However, you may find that very challenging as a beginner, and therefore what you want to do is make the process easier by going C, and once you have learned it in the key of C on the circle of fifths, then you go up to G, which is that 5, and you're only modifying one note, that natural F, to turn F sharp in the key of G. Then you go to D. Now you're modifying an additional note. So each time you go to a new key around the circle of fourths and fifths, you're adding one new key or note that you need to know while you are actually playing these patterns. So take it through all 12 keys on your horn, and you can find the sheet music in the description below. One thing that you want to also do while you learn these patterns is that you use a metronome so that you can have clean and solid technique on your horn. As you practice these patterns, you're not just practicing the patterns so you can plug them somewhere, right? That's not the point of practicing your triads, your arpeggios, or patterns. The purpose is for you to develop clean and smooth technique. And as you practice these patterns, you are covering some grounds in various areas of learning to play your horn. So 1, you're practicing your intervals. 2, you're practicing to skip, to jump up, to jump down. Thirdly, you are learning to use approach notes in whole tone series and half steps. So you are covering quite a bit, and your ears are getting accustomed to the sounds that you're hearing coming from each interval or each note that you are playing on your horn. One more thing that you should do to really solidify these patterns and these scales as you practice them is that you find a melody, find a tune, find a song that is within that particular key, and you learn that song as well. So let's say we're starting in the key of C on soprano and tenor. One song that you can essentially add to your repertoire is that song Endless Love by Diana Ross. For alto and baritone players, you can play She's Royal by Tarrus Riley, and that is in the key of C. So that way you are solidifying the scale by learning to play tunes as you play each scale or each pattern that you are seeking to learn. You can find the link to all the sheet music in the description below. In order to learn to play some reggae patterns, check this next video on screen.